Men, if you are doing this one thing, then your wife won't change. She won't start working on her unhealthy patterns. She won't take accountability. Things won't get better in your marriage. And the truth is, most men are doing this. And it is not just men either. I'm sharing this because this is exactly what I used to do in my relationship in the hard days, and things did not get better until I stopped doing it. I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in, because if you're doing this one thing and you stop, then there is so much hope for things to change. So this one thing, we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to make you wait. If you are telling yourself that things will not get better in your marriage, if you are telling yourself that your wife won't ever work on her stuff, if you're telling yourself that she'll never take accountability, she'll never apologize, she won't start showing interest in you, in your marriage, that your sex life can never get better. If you're telling yourself any of those things, you are actually blocking the change that you want to see. And this is for real. This is brain stuff. Hang out with me, because my gosh, when we can change this, and I'll share my experience of changing this belief. So this is what it's all about. I'll share my experience of changing this belief and what happened from there, because, oh my gosh, there is so much hope for things to get better. So let's talk about why this blocks change. You could be doing, you're here. You are at Loving with Intention. You are watching the videos. You are doing the things. You are reading the tips. You are diving in. You are intentional. You want things to get better. So even if you are doing things, you're working on your unhealthy patterns, even if you're doing that and you're still holding this belief that she won't change, or it doesn't matter that I'm doing this because she's not going to change, then the way that this stops it is, one way is when you have this belief, when we have any sort of belief, it's literally just running in our subconscious. So our subconscious is running 95% of what we're doing in life. Our conscious is 5% of what we're doing. So our beliefs, they live in our unconscious, our subconscious, whichever you want to call it. And often we're also thinking them, literally thinking them. But when we're not, they're still there. So when this is running in your subconscious, what your brain does is look for ways to prove you right, to confirm your belief. You may have heard of confirmation bias. So when you're believing this, your brain is looking for all the ways that indeed your wife will not change. So it's showing you her unhealthy patterns, the times that she doesn't take accountability, the hurtful things that she's doing, the things that she's not doing that you would love for her to be doing. All of those things are popping out to you because your brain is just confirming that belief for you. So that's super present for you, which feels like garbage, obviously. On the flip side of this, if you believed that things could get better, that your marriage could get happier, that your wife would work on things, that things could really change, if you actually had that belief, then your brain would be pointing out all of the ways that this was true, all of the possibility that there was. It would be showing you the positive things that were happening, the ways she turned towards you with love and care. And right now you might be like, nope, that doesn't happen at all. And I would be compassionately curious, is that because your brain is muting those things and only showing you the hard things, the things that confirm the belief that you currently have? So after I share a little bit more, I'm going to come back to how to actually change the belief, because it is not enough to just say, okay, I believe it. I believe it. She will change. Things will get better, because your brain knows if you believe something or not, it's going to be like, no, you're just saying that. We don't really believe it. So we're going to come back to how to actually change the belief. But from here, it's not only that your brain is finding things to confirm that belief. We also want to think about, who are you when you have that belief? Who are you when you believe things won't change? How do you feel? That's the first question. How do you actually feel? I know when I believed that, I felt hopeless. I felt disappointed. I felt sad. I felt frustrated. I felt angry. I felt super annoyed that I was the only one who wanted to do the work. And I think, like I said, hopeless, but that's a really big one. I felt hopeless. Like, things can't change because he won't work on things. I'm the only one doing it, so things can't change. So feeling hopeless, feeling all of those hard feelings, that doesn't feel good. And then what happens? How does that affect how I show up? It changes my energy. If I'm feeling hopeless, my mood is probably low. I'm probably feeling down. I'm probably not bringing a great energy and a great vibe to my relationship. And how does that show up in my actual actions? Well, I'm probably thinking, I'm not seeing him for his good intentions, for sure. I'm not looking for good intentions. I'm actually looking for bad intentions. So he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. And he sees that in me, maybe I'm being critical. Maybe I'm being defensive. And I'm talking about me, but let's think about you. Maybe you show up in critical ways, defensive ways, sarcastic ways. Maybe you shut down, withdraw, pull away because you have that belief, and then you have the feelings that come along with believing that, and then you have the energy that changes, and then you have the actions that you take. Everything stems from having this belief up here. So everything stems from that, and then you show up in these ways, and what can happen then is your wife is actually in a lot of ways responding to your energy and your actions. So then she's doing her own unhealthy patterns because we all got them. We have all got them. So she's doing her own unhealthy patterns in response to yours, as well as on her own. This is not all about like you causing her unhealthy patterns. It's never about that. There is a dance that we do, but she still has choice. So we're just talking about zooming out and just imagining if you are not seeing her for her best intentions, and imagine you get a little critical. In response to that, she might get defensive. She might get critical back. So then we start to see those things again, and our brain goes, there it is. We knew it. She won't work on things. She won't change. So it's like this full circle self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's a coach, Laura Doyle, and she actually calls this a spouse-fulfilling prophecy, which I totally love because it is so true. Our beliefs, we not only look for things to confirm them, we actually create scenarios in which we get that confirmation back. So I love our brains so much. And this is actually good news. This is good news. It doesn't sound like good news, but it's good news because we know that if this is stemming from this belief, then we can change that belief. And it's not as easy as just like, I choose to change the belief. We're going to get into how to change it in just a moment. But I do want you to remember that even if you're doing the things, showing up with appreciation, you are being intentional with hellos and goodbyes, you are, looking to listen and validate and soften and show up and be present and all of these things to love with intention, ding, ding, ding. You are doing all of these things. If you still have that belief, you're still having the ripple effect of that belief on top of those intentional things that you're doing. So it can feel like those are like all for naught, that they are just not working. So how do we change this belief? How do we shift this and change this? So I am in the belief busting just vortex in my life. That is something that I'm very focused on because not only in relationships, we have self-limiting beliefs in so many things. So one thing that I love to do, like I said, it's not enough to just say, I believe things can change then. Okay, I just watched Lindsay's video and I believe things can change, because your brain will know that. So instead, if you say, I am open to the possibility that things could change. I am open to the possibility that my wife could start working on things. I am open to the possibility that she could start apologizing, taking accountability, that our sex and intimate life could get better. I am open to the possibility of this. Your brain can believe that. So it's like, it's the bridge to the new belief. It's the bridge. That is the bridge. It is the bridge to the new belief when we just open ourselves up, because then our brain goes from belief, I don't believe this, to I'm open to the possibility. And when I even say that, when I say I'm open to the possibility that things could get better in our marriage, in our relationship, already I feel better. So the ripple effect of the feelings, I feel there's a little bit of hope there. There is a little bit of positivity. There's a little bit of motivation, inspiration to keep going and doing the things because I'm open to the possibility. And one thing that I love to do, like if you are here and you want to get really intentional, start saying this to yourself. So for me, I get extra intentional. I set alarms on my phone. They have beautiful little sparkly emojis and it says new belief. And it goes off through the day, and whatever belief I'm actively working on, because I'm always busting beliefs over here, I will pop my hand on my heart and I will take deep breaths and breathe into that belief. And I will say, I am open to the possibility of whatever that belief is that I'm working on. So you can do this. And if you do this multiple times a day, it might seem ridiculous to you. I don't know. It might seem really small. The truth is, it's rewiring your brain. Right now, you've got grooves saying, I don't believe things could change. Those grooves run deep. We're creating new grooves, and we get to do that bit by bit by bit. So that's a great way to do it, to get intentional. And also, just start to notice. Start to notice when you find yourself actively thinking those thoughts, that she won't change, or there she goes again. When you catch yourself, if you can pause, pop your hand on your heart, take a deep belly breath and say, I'm open to the possibility that things could change, you are again stopping that belief in its tracks. And just like we end up creating things to confirm our belief of things will never change, we can instead create evidence that things can change by showing up with intention and by changing this belief. And if this honestly seems, I know for some people, this might seem really out there, like, am I really going to pop my hand on my heart? Am I really going to do these affirmations? Maybe you don't want to. And it's like, oh gosh, we get to look at the evidence of the past and think, is what I have been doing working? Is it making me feel hopeful? Is change happening? Have I ever really believed that change could happen? And if not, am I willing to step in and try something new? So that is what I want to leave with you today. And I want to bring it back to my relationship and tell you how this showed up, because I definitely believed that things could never change. I definitely believed that he would never work on things. I could never picture him like sitting down with me, working through a module, talking through an argument, validating, like having those deep conversations that I always wanted, truly being committed to working on our relationship and our growth. And so I believed those. And then I joined that group coaching program on my own without him. And it was in doing that where A1, I learned that I could do things on my end. I had unhealthy patterns that I could shift so I could focus on that. And B2, I learned that I started feeling hope. I had my coach there telling me things can change. And when you do this, you're going to start seeing changes. And the moment that I saw one little shift with the support of my coach, then my belief started shifting. I started to be open to the possibility that things could change, and they did. So it was not only me working on myself and doing new healthy patterns, it was that belief starting to shift. And now, I mean, that belief has just been completely shifted because he comes to couples retreats with me and he actively works on our relationship with me. We have a thriving relationship. Yes, we have conflict. Yes, we still annoy each other. Yes, things still come up, and we work through them in a way that always brings us closer, which I'm so grateful for. So the whole belief has changed. Everything has changed. So this is possible. So again, this is what I'm leaving with you today. And I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments below. It is actually really empowering to know that you have so much power to change things and you're not actually hopeless in your marriage. And if you want to get extra intentional, you can pop the word roadmap in the comments to get my free love journey roadmap, so you know the exact areas to focus on to create that change while you are changing that belief. And your intentional action for the week is to get compassionately curious with yourself. Do you have that belief? And if you do, start to shift it. Start to tell yourself that you're open to the possibility that things could get better, and get really intentional with this. And if you don't have that belief, we got all sorts of limiting beliefs. So get compassionately curious and find something else and start to shift that belief so that you can create the kind of life, the kind of relationship that you want to have. I am sending so much love into your day. You can check out the video on the screen for the 4 areas that I really dove into to create that change when I was working with my coach. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have a super intentional week. Bye.